Welcome, viewers. This is SaharaTV broadcasting to you live from the heart of New York City. Last week, we brought you the representative of Ghana's biggest opposition party, the New Patriotic Party, here in New York. That is, with the promise of following up with the other parties as we examine the politics of the West African country, touted as a beacon of democracy and free press. In fulfillment of that promise, we have in the studio today Mr. Moses Kanduri from the New York chapter of the ruling National Democratic Congress. Mr. Kanduri will be our guide to what's happening in the party back in Ghana and in government. He's a former secretary of the NDC New York chapter. Welcome, Moses.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's start with this straight away. The NDC has come under incessant criticism since it assumed governance. And listening to the opposition, you would think that Ghana is about to virtually disintegrate. Is Ghana disintegrating under President Mahama?
Well, Kwesi, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for not just giving the people of Africa who are in the diaspora the sense of belongingness by bringing information to them. I think that it's a great channel. I would say that I'm very proud to be here because I am here to talk about what the good government of Ghana, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is doing for Ghana. Yes, of course, you would never hear somebody who is in opposition say anything well if you understand the politics of Ghana and even the politics of the entire Africa. It cuts across even Africa. They never say anything good about a government in power because they're in opposition and they want to come into power. I did hear your last interview with the MPP guy here say that what comes them, the MPDC is going to lose power to them because they possess better policies, but he failed to state the policies that they are prepared to bring back. But I would say that Ghana is not in any state of disarray. Ghana is not in any malfunction state. We are just faced with problems and challenges that any other developing country would face. The economic problems that we see in Ghana, it's not simply because the leadership has mismanaged the country. It is probably, it is something that we all see in even America here. America has had recessions.
So Ghana is in a recession right now?
I wouldn't say Ghana is in a recession. Ghana is just in an unstable economic situation. And it is a global trend. Ghana, we all know, depends mainly on certain resources. Mining, cocoa. And if you look at the world prices
and recently
today,
oil. Oil has been, none of the governments before this one has had the benefit of the income coming, from oil.
Of course, oil is a blessing. We always say that. But you cannot begin to measure the extent to which oil should play a role in the government as of now because we are still in its initial stages. It will take some time for us to be able to at least, galvanize resources from the oil. Okay.
Now, those who criticize the government basically point to certain things. The falling cedi. It's almost like 3 cedis to the dollar right now. They point to things like the energy crisis, which has been infamously named Doomsday, which is off and on, so to speak. Things like incompetent ministers. Things like that. How would you respond to these?
Once again, it's all propaganda in politics. First of all, let me say that we have one of the most outstanding presidents that in history Ghana would leave Ghanaians, especially young Ghanaians as myself, will live to tell a story of a legacy that is left. The reason why I'm saying this is that we don't have a president who is rushing to do things, but we have a president who is strategically and systematically doing things based on analysis that will be able to take Ghana to the next level. You see, the first issue that you mentioned was the the falling of the cedi. You see, many countries in Africa, just like Ghana, depends largely on importations of goods. And so once you import goods, then you are weakening your economic power. You are weakening your currency. And so what the government, and that's why you see John Mahama in this recent times championing a campaign for Ghanaians to patronize made in Ghana goods. And he has led by example. Shoes that he wears. In fact, as I sit here today, the shoe I'm wearing is from Kumasi.
Oh, wow.
It was brought to me about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And this is an example of what a leader wants to teach Ghanaians. Let us patronize our made in Ghana goods so that it will give the motivation to people who produce it.
Now, made in Ghana goods, patronize made in Ghana goods, buy made in Ghana goods, it's not a new concept by any means. What is the president bringing to it that's new? Why would I be excited about this recycled, you know?
First of all, you have to first have institutions in place. You cannot patronize sugar when, made in Ghana sugar when there is no factory in Ghana making the sugar. You can take sugar out of the country and package it and bring it back. Or you can go outside the country, make sugar, package it and write on it, made in Ghana and bring it back. But what the president is doing, for example, the Commander Sugar Factory, the president just secured $30 million to revive that Commander Sugar Factory. And I bet he's going to give a lot of employment to people. So this is what the president is looking at. He's looking at reviving the institutions. The tomato factory down north has been revived. The shoe factory, the president, as we speak right now, went to Kumasi and he visited the shoe factory and he assured Ghanaians that the police service, the military service, the school students will be using shoes from the Ghana shoe factory. That's right.
I just read that there's going to be free shoes for school kids.
Absolutely.
Now that's a novelty.
But this is just to tell the government is working.
Okay. What other things can you point to, though? What other projects can Ghanaians look to and say, oh, there is hope?
Absolutely, the president has done a great job. Let's talk about the doomsaw they are talking about. You know, Ghana spends close to $3 million a day on crude oil to power the electric, to give power to the electricity. But what the president has done is to be able to build that gas pipeline. And as I talk to you, it is about it's more than 70% completed as of now. And if that is completed, it is going to, number one, reduce our spending on crude oil by 50% to maybe 1.5 million or less per day. And the 1.5 million that has been saved is going to be channeled into a lot of things. You and I know what 1.5 is going to do. Okay. Apart from that, it's going to give us stabilized energy that will at least power our industrial.
Let me challenge you on this. The gas is coming from Nigeria. Nigeria itself is going through its own version of an energy crisis. How does the naked man give clothes to someone?
But you know, we are not. It's just one of the means that we are trying to boost the energy area. The Bui Dam. The Bui Dam it's almost completed, and we are expecting that the Bui Dam will add a lot of wattage to the power industry sector. Also, what the president is doing is encouraging solar energy. Because you know where we are coming from in Ghana, we have a lot of sun.
Yep.
And so the best thing is to use it. And so he's putting in place strategies to be able to get people to use and to judiciously make good use of the solar.
Okay, all right. Let's push on a bit. Let's deal a bit more with party matters, like intra-party matters. There's rumors of a major shakeup in cabinet, and names like Ekwospiu Gabra is popping up heading for one of the ministries, and others. Others like Mahama Yariga is rumored to be on his way out. What's happening in the party? Is this some kind of a tacit, if you will, admission that the ministers, as presently composed, are not really delivering? They're not really helping the president to achieve his vision.
Let me be very quick to say before that one thing that we can give credit to this NDC government is the fact that it is injecting into the political arena new blood, new faces, young people, just as John Rawlings did before.
Yep.
Mills did it. John Mahama is doing it. And so it is just to tell you that the NDC party is about giving out opportunity. There's no greed. We want people who are upcoming. We want people who have the potential. We have people who have the skill to also be tested, to be given the opportunity to rule and offer their support.
Does that have to happen at the you know, at the peril of the nation, though? Do we have to sacrifice the development of the nation on the altar of giving the chance to young people to experience governance?
Because, you know, the fact is that knowledge base is changing. And it's changing at a speed. And the speed is globalized. And this knowledge base that is changing gives young people the advantage. Because, one, technology, the use of iPhones, the use of computers to do research. I can sit here and use my iPhone to do a research and talk to you.
Yep.
That is what young people have mastered doing. But I'm only telling you because it is not giving them the chance. It is allowing them to be able to use what they know to help Mother Ghana develop. Okay,
all right. I can deal with that totally. Now, the MPP accuses you of stealing their campaign message. You know, that is the FreeSHS, that's senior high school education thing, which the president is vigorously following now. What's your response?
You know, they've said this over and over and over. The concept of free education didn't start with the MPP. It started with the Nkrumahist. Free compulsory basic education.
Yep.
When MPP started, we never said it was a bad idea. We said that it is doable in a gradual manner. You don't just rush and say, from today, tomorrow, no more school fees. No, you can't do that. You need, number one, to put your structures in place. That is why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in fact, I would always praise him because he is putting in place institutions that will allow the rollout of the free education to be adequately sufficient, adequately pricey for us. He promised in his campaign, the NDC in our manifesto, we said 200 schools, 200 high schools. As I speak to you right now, at the cost of 5 million Ghana cedis per unit, about 50 of those schools is nearing completion. You understand what I'm saying? We are expanding other institutions like the teacher trainee, the nursing trainee, in fact, upgrading most of them to even diploma institution and college institutions.
Diploma awarding institutions.
Diploma awarding and degree awarding institutions. In fact, on top of that, there is a university in Ho, as I speak to you. Volta region has a university. Brona Hafu region has a university, all under the watch of the NDC. If these are not ways to be able to at least cut down costs for people going to private university, and if these are not measures taken to put together institutions in order to roll successfully a gradual, sustaining free education, what else will it be?
Okay. Still on intra-party business, during the tenure of President Mills, the late President Mills, there seemed to be some tension between him and party founder Jerry Rawlings. Since his demise, however, that seems to have abated a bit. We don't really see too much animosity between party and government, or at least a faction of the party and government. Have you made your peace with the Rawlings faction?
You know, factions are always necessary in parties. They are necessary because it strengthens the democracy of the internal party system. Will you say the MPP, the CPP, or the PNC do not have internal factions? The just ended MPP Congress in Tamale. You had all these factions. Akufo-Addo is for Jake, Kufuor is for Afoko. It happens. But what existed between Rawlings and Mills? Rawlings and Mills were president and vice president before. So they had, and still, I believe, may he so rest in peace, if he was around, would have still had that respect for Rawlings. And Rawlings did have respect for him. But as human beings, when you feel that your brother is going wrong, you correct your brother.
Shouldn't that be done within the party setup first?
But that's what I'm saying. It is a way of strengthening your democracy. You need to be transparent.
So Rawlings was looking beyond the party and looking at state. That's what you're saying.
You understand? Beyond the party.
Okay. All right. We have very few minutes left, so I'll try to crush as many questions as possible into the next few minutes that we have left. The history of the NDC cannot be written without somebody like Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, the wife of the flag bearer. Now she has her own party. Is this good commentary for your party? Are you doing anything to try to bring her back home?
Oh, freedom of expressions and freedom of associations. She's a wonderful, amazing organizer of a woman. She had the 31st December Women Movement. But there comes a time in your life where you feel that you have to move on. You understand? Where you feel that you have to move on. And so when that moment comes, all you have to do is to take the step. If she has taken a step, all we have to do is to wish her well and continue to run our party. You
don't wish she comes back to
the
party?
We won the elections without Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings.
Yes, but don't you want her to come back to the party?
It's about numbers. She's welcome to come back. We will always receive her as the mother of our mother and our sister, and somebody who has a great talent in organizing women and organizing a party. So, even the CPP, PNC, when the Bidzidin group faction, DFP, broke away, what happened?
Yep.
They came back.
They came back, yes.
It's reality.
Which is why I think you should take steps to try and bring
It is reality. Time will tell. But right now, what we are focusing on is bigger than an individual. We are focusing on the agenda for change for the people of Ghana, the better Ghana
People within
agenda.
your party have suggested that Paula Foko winning the chairmanship of the NPP is a sign that signals that the NDC should be careful. Isn't this the time that you should actually look at bringing everybody home? At least, because you just said it, numbers count.
Numbers count. We are not threatened by Paula Foko's victory. We have to only be cautious of our trade with the public.
Okay, all right. Now, finally, I don't know if I can push two questions, but let me try and push this one at least. A lot of woes, a lot of the government's woes seem to be coming from communication. Now, for a president who himself is a communications expert, that does not sound good at all. What is happening with the party communicators? There are a lot of things that I, as a journalist, get to find out from other sources than the government communicators. There are times that even here in this house, we've tried to call the Ministry of Information and a few other ministries, and the response is appalling, to say the least. What is happening with communications? Is the president aware that his communicators are not really up to the billing?
I think that, in every government, you don't expect all sectors to be perfect. You understand? I'm not saying that the communication sector is not perfect. They are doing a great job. If you go to the rural areas, the information service department vans that you hear them always singing out with those mics are doing a great job. They are sensitizing the people of Ghana.
Isn't it easier to put up a post? Isn't it easier to put something on the internet than to drive a van to the village, for instance, and make noise?
How many people in the village have internet?
No, but I'm saying there are a lot of people who have access to internet. So if you can go all the way to the village to do that, how easy is it then to just write up a simple statement and put it on the internet?
I think that it is done, but as to what speed that is done is a problem. You understand? And I believe that John Mahama knows as a communicator, and with Ben Malo, who is now the specialist on communication, working with him, in fact, in the last 3 or 4 months, things have changed. You can now get access to information when you need it. It might not be at the speed that you need it, but we are getting there. We are definitely getting there.
So as journalists, if we call the Ministry of Information and we don't get a response, what does that say for us? Where else do we go to?
We have the ministry, we have a communication team. It depends on who you are dealing with. Do you want information about government or the party? The party has its communication team, the government has its communication team, and we have other think tank that actually speaks for the government. So you need to, if you call the information ministry, you don't get them, you can get through to the party, or you can get through some of the think tanks to be able to do the work. For example, the CSD, which was formerly the Young Democrats, they can give you an amazing and bulk information that you can you would always be profitable in what you want to do.
Okay. So your Congress is when are you going for Congress?
Hopefully in December.
December.
Yes.
What do you expect?
I expect us to continue as we always do, elect or select good leaders to continue to help us.
Do you think anybody's going to show up to challenge President Mahama?
Once again, everyone deserves the right to do whatever he wants to do, provided he feels that he can. We would not close doors to anybody, but John Mahama, as of now, is concentrating on his first 4 years for a better Ghana, and that is what we are on. If it gets there, we'll cross.
Kanduri, thank you very much for making
time with us. Thank you very much, my brother, for inviting me over.
Yes, this has been Moses Kanduri of the New York chapter of the National Democratic Congress. Next week, hopefully, we'll be able to bring you the CPP, that's the Convention People's Party, in the studio. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. There's more coming.